Hey guys, Brian Hewitt, Stogie Review, IPCPR 2016. It's the very last day. We're here with my man, Mellilo. What's going on?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here and have some time to talk about cigars. And
you've been so busy. I see you just running around and wheeling and dealing.
You know, luckily we got a good team helping out, but it's been steady. It's great to see the cigar world alive and well.
Yeah, right.
So exciting show.
It's got to be exciting for you. You've got a bunch of new stuff, right?
Yeah, a few new things. We ended up early on, seeing that this FDA stuff was coming on board. So been working on some cool projects over the past couple of years. Happy to share them.
Yeah, please do.
So first is the Upsetters. A couple of years ago, I traveled to Jamaica for Bob Marley's 70th birthday. Been a big reggae fan for many years. So
I've noticed that.
Yes, I've also been a big fan of Jamaican tobacco. When I started in the business in '96, Hyde Park, Uncellophaned, Kingston, Jamaica, C. Fuente's factory, great stuff. Royal Jamaica, Temple Hall. So I always, wanted to do a Jamaican cigar project. So the Upsetters was perfect. You got the classic red, gold, and green reggae colors. The imagery is based on old spaghetti westerns from Jamaica, or really their interpretation of spaghetti westerns. So a lot of this early dub music, rocksteady music, had a lot of references to old spaghetti westerns.
Really?
Also, you have Jimmy Cliff and The Harder They Come. Some really cool stuff. So I wanted to do a Jamaican Nicaraguan blend. Also, the Jamaicans have an interesting curing style of tobacco. Tobacco's been being grown there, time of the Arawak. So they used to use herbs in the actual fire curing. Instead of hardwoods like Kentucky Fire Cured, they would use herbs in the actual firing process. So the tobacco is called cow tongue, and they call it silver tongue. It's indigenous to the island. It actually looks like a cow's tongue. It's a little bit more narrow leaves. Very mild, surprisingly. We're actually trying some Habano seeds there.
See how they work out.
See if we can get some different flavors going on. But this tobacco is excellent in blending with Nicaraguan tobacco. So we do a Caribbean infusion of it, but it's not an overwhelming sweet aromatic. It really balances with the tobacco flavors.
So what kind of a flavor profile how would you describe that?
I would say sweet and aromatic.
Sweet and aromatic.
Aromatic, but we use some Viso from Jalapa in there, so it's not overly powerful. It's not overly mild. It's a nice balance.
Okay.
With the infusion, excellent balance. You got to try them for yourself.
Got to try it.
You got to try it for yourself. But it's an infused cigar. So traditionalists, this is a completely different product. So.
Still sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Interesting concept. I like the Jamaican angle.
Jamaica never forsake ya.
I'm glad I got a chance to post for this box.
Yeah. Digging it.
Yeah.
I wanted to call this one CME.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, is it too late to change it?
No. I wish I got it in. Yes. Okay. So the Tabernacle.
The Tabernacle. AKA CME.
CME. So I've also been involved in sourcing tobacco with a company called Mellilo International, which I started a couple years ago, working with farmers from across the world, hooking them up with people that know how to ferment tobacco really well, sell into the market. So I've been involved in Nicaragua, Mexico, of course Connecticut, River Valley. So a couple of years ago I sourced a crop. AJ Fernandez purchased it and has been curing it over the past couple of years. So I'm really excited about this project. Tabernacle, it's a transportable container of something that is holy. So, for me, my humidor is always that special place, holy place where you're looking at what you got. Feeling good, and just the experience. So this is a Connecticut broadleaf, Mexican San Andreas binder, Esteli, Jalapa, a little bit of Jamastran from Honduras. Rich, earthy, cocoa, that espresso.
Yeah. very dense.
The aroma coming off of it is unbelievable. Also a must try.
So a must try. Speaking of must try, when
Yes.
we're going to buy it, how much must we part with?
So these are in the
Yeah.
9 to 12 range. Yes, 9 to 12 range. So
Okay.
yeah, 9 to 12. So we're sort of hitting. We have the Charter Oak that we're coming up on.
Okay.
It's a $4 to $6 cigar. Actually uses the second cuts from the Tabernacle.
Oh, I see.
You
Okay.
got to utilize the yields.
Yeah.
You know,
Use every part of the tobacco.
you
plant.
have to. You have to. If you can, why would you let it go to waste?
Exactly.
It makes no sense. So what do you think? Have you smoked one yet?
No, I haven't had one
Okay,
yet.
we gotta get you some cigars.
Yeah. It sounds really cool. I really like the box art on it. That's who's the
So the images of Haile Selassie. He was the 225th king of Ethiopia.
Oh, okay. Yeah. you
Okay,
used to
so
say that
the
before.
Ethiopians claim to actually have the Ark of the Covenant.
I've heard that. Yes.
The Smithsonian's done some
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good articles, but it's really Indiana Jones. Instead of Egypt, it really should be, historically speaking, Ethiopia. But
And they have special Jewish rabbis,
the
Ethiopia.
yeah,
They're the
Phalacios.
only ones that can view it. Otherwise, if you see it, you die. Except for just them. So that's
their
the
whole
legend.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was said that people really don't know. Growing up, I always thought or heard Ethiopia, starving people, famine, and it turns out pre-1974, there's a history of 3,000 years that goes back to Solomon and
Yeah.
Sheba of kings and queens.
prosperity, basically.
The communists took over in 74 and just pretty much destroyed the country. There's huge famines, and that's what a lot of people know. But so I started researching, this history, which is very connected to reggae music. Reggae music really means king's music, the roots of it, which
Okay.
really came from the hills and mountains of Jamaica through, what they call Nyabingi or drumming sessions. Very, spiritual practice.
Okay.
But so they had seen Haile Selassie as a godlike, he was crowned king in 1930, and he was the last of these kings.
Looks pretty regal, so I can see why they would think.
Yeah, man, it's some of the pictures of those times, unbelievable. I mean,
It's insane.
I wish somebody would make a great movie about this history.
Maybe you could start with this video right
It'd
here.
be great. In 1935, it was the only place in Africa that was uncolonized. The Italians tried to take Ethiopia in 1935 and occupied for 5 years, but
Didn't happen.
yeah, Selassie came back. So Haile Selassie means power of the Holy Trinity. He was actually born with the name Ras, which is a title in Ethiopian, which means prince. Tafari, which was his name. Rastafari.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not know
Nice.
that. Rastafari.
Yeah, Rastafari. So, in Jamaica it was colonized by England.
Yeah.
They never, knew of black kings. So, in 1930, he was crowned king. People started learning these things and reading scripture. Like 3,000 years, Queen of Sheba. The Queen of Sheba went to Israel to seek Solomon's wisdom. They had a son who was called Menelik, son of the wise man. The Babylonians invaded Israel. It was said that the ark was smuggled out down the Nile, which goes into Ethiopia, and was brought to an actual lake where there was an island in the middle of the lake, and they made the tabernacle there. And now they say it's in the north of the country. It's really cool. I mean, nobody. Some guy I was reading was saying he studied the guys that guard the ark.
Yeah.
There's one guy can't leave the premises. He spends his whole life, and that he noticed a lot of them had cataracts, and he was trying to make some correlation that they do have some sort of object that has like a high radiation or something like that. So sorry we got off.
And then they also too, they actually
You're real.
they got the DNA from them too, and they actually have DNA that link Israel and the people in Ethiopia.
But that's the crazy thing. This is what started my journey on this. I was like 18. They found the bones in this area. The beginning of the Bible describes 4 rivers of Eden, the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
It's actually Ethiopia, which means it's Greek, which means those who have been darkened by the sun. In some Bibles it says Kosh, which is Hebrew, for the same thing.
Yeah.
But you have stories, you have bones, and now they have the mitochondrial DNA.
Yeah.
Everybody has a female marker. You go from China to Thailand to indigenous cultures, anywhere, share the same
Crazy, right?
right from this area of
It's wild.
Africa. Yeah.
So do we want to take a look at the Charter Oak as well, or?
Let's definitely look at the Charter Oak. Charter Oak is a project I've been working over a couple of years also. Wanted to do something, pay tribute to Connecticut. I'm from New Haven, a lot of cigar factories at the turn of the century. My grandfather used to work at the Winchester factory, used to go to the F.D. Gray factory a lot. You know, Connecticut's one of the only black tobacco growing regions in the United States. So I wanted to pay tribute to Connecticut and to my grandfather. So this is 5 sizes, 2 different wrappers: broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf, and Connecticut shade. Connecticut shade does come from Ecuador. Connecticut's had a lot of issues with shade recently. There's a lot of people not growing. One of the largest farmers this year not even planting crops.
Really?
Been getting hit a little bit. Yields and labor intensive. You know, whereas Ecuador, you have the natural cloud cover. The seed takes amazingly well. You know, yields are incredible. It's beautiful. It's golden. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm working on some things. Might.
You can take over, replant the whole area.
You know, you never know. You never know. You never know. So the Charter Oak was a real charter tree where they said Hartford, Connecticut stands now. The British were trying to take rights away from the Connecticut colonies. They were given a charter that gave them unprecedented rights back in the day. The King of England at the time said, you know, we want that back. So they said that they hid it in this Charter Oak tree. So, they said it was knocked down by a hurricane in the late 1800s, but it's the image of Connecticut.
Yeah.
You go to the state capitol, it's all about the Charter Oak tree.
It's on the quarter, isn't it?
What's that?
It's on the state quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Connecticut's medium. Sometimes Connecticut's can get a little bitter for me.
Yeah.
Picked up some of the Jalapa Miso in there also. A little bit of something nice in there. Give it a nice creamy, but a little bit of strength. The broadleaf is nice and meaty.
So you said that this kind of inherited kind of the second.
Yeah, so to work with the yields properly, you know, you have a broadleaf in general is now a high yielding tobacco compared to shade. You know, for example, shade you can get 4 to 5 pounds and make you 1,000 sticks. Whereas with broadleaf you might need 20, 25, 30 pounds to make you some stick. Veinier, heavier, so you know, you got to use the choice stuff and then use everything. So it's perfect because all the cigars my grandfather smoked were these, you know, more rustic Connecticut broadleaf. He smoked extra Oscudo, Connecticut Topstone a lot. Smoked Topper too, FD Grade, money makers. Good stuff, man. The old timers, they just chew. You go up to the valley, you'll see some old timers. They don't even light them. They
just chew on them.
Chew them, cut them, chew them.
Got him. Yeah.
So somebody stole the box, 7.5 by 40. This we did 23 boxes hand painted originally for just some random giveaways over the past year. Just trying to get how we're going to replicate this art. Our art director, Thief Operandi, who did these paintings back here, did an amazing job. The silk screen came out terrible. We finally got a laser printer. Did these really nice. They're beautiful. 250 boxes, 13 count. Wheel inside of those beauties, 7.5 by 40. This is my grandfather's favorite size. My other grandfather, he's 91, so that'll make him the size he liked.
Yeah, there you go.
We got one for BOTL that we're doing for Operation Esteli. It's a 5.5 by 40. All the proceeds are going to go to the school in Esteli.
Short Lancero.
Short Lancero.
That's kind of cool.
20 count. This is 13 count. There's only 200 boxes of those.
Okay.
Great. So,
Are those going to
excited.
retailers, or where, is that a special buy?
You know, to be honest with you, it's been so crazy. We have to work out exactly the speed. Yeah, it's going to retailers.
Okay.
Yeah, right now.
What would the price point be on those?
This is $11.50 MSRP. This is $12.50.
Cool. Very nice.
That's not too bad. Cool. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us, man.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.